Right, so welcome back everybody. Today we are here with Swift Cut Automation. Dan here is going to show us around everything that, well, you're going to show us all the plasma tables to begin with.
Yep.
You're then going to show us, we've got a waterbed cutting system over here. I've never seen one of them before, so that's going to be quite good. And then we're going to go actually look at the factory where these are made, because you make these in the UK.
All made in the UK, and then we'll also go down to the stores as well, so you can see all our part selection and everything that we've got here on site.
Brilliant. So, what this machine is a CNC plasma cutter. I've always wanted one of these, and if you've been watching quite regularly, you'll know that I've been trying to upgrade the farm workshop and trying to make it more efficient, and I feel as though this machine is going to be like the next big step up for me. So I feel as though it's going from maybe from going to a hacksaw to a bandsaw.
Definitely.
You know, because there's so much you can do with these. What we're going to do as well, I've bought actually a subsoiler leg. So this is a soil wearing component off one of our cultivators, and I thought, wouldn't it be a great idea if we could cut our own parts out in our own workshop? So this is about 22 mil thick, and Dan has said you can actually do this really clever thing where you just lay it on the floor and take a picture of it. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to lay it on the floor, take a picture of it, and then you're going to upload it as a JPEG into the computer.
Yep.
And then we're going to see if this will just cut it out.
Yep.
So let's have a go. Right, so we're laying, that's our part we want to cut out. We're laying it on the floor.
Yep, so I'm just going to open the camera app.
So normal camera on your iPhone.
That's it, exactly.
I'm going to stand out the way.
I'm going to stand overhead.
You want to be what, like a metre and a half away from the component?
Yeah, so you want to use the zoom lens on your camera and then just bring your camera up a little bit so you get like a nice overhead shot.
And you can do this with any part, can't you? If you can see it.
Any part at all, yep. That's exactly right. So I'm going to take this overhead shot now. And that's it, that's all we need.
So we've now got a picture of that part. I'm quite excited about this actually, because this is like next level farm workshop stuff, isn't it?
Just makes it a lot easier, and you don't need to know CAD.
No.
You know, so that's the simplicity of it.
So the great thing about doing this is, like, you would obviously have to draw quite a lot of your bits out on there, and if you're probably not quite as, well, maybe a bit like me, who's a bit...
If you're a bit new to it as well.
Yeah, if you're a bit new to it and you're learning, you know, you can just take a picture and have a go, and then we can play about with it a bit as well, can't we?
That's exactly right.
Right, let's upload it to that.
Let's go.
I'm just going to check the measurements as well.
That's it, yep.
So that's 650.
Perfect.
The only thing we are going to have to do afterwards, we're going to cut like these are like, on the side here, they're like soil wearing plates. We can cut them out and just tack them on afterwards and then drill 2 holes, but the plasma cutter's going to do all this and drill every single hole as well. So I'm hoping that this is going to work out like a major cost saving instead of buying components.
Yep.
Not all components, but like some components that this machine will make. It's going to hopefully pay for itself
very quickly.
Hopefully.
Yep.
Hopefully.
Yep.
Uploaded.
Yeah, so we've emailed it to ourselves, we put it onto a memory stick.
JPEG.
Selected drive D.
And that's our cultivation subsoil leg just there.
That's it, yeah.
So what do we need to do now? So I've just measured it. We're just going to check the measurements, aren't we? We're going to input some measurements just to make sure it's right.
That's it.
The great thing about this is as well, once we've done this once, we can, it saves it to the computer, doesn't it?
That's it, yeah, so you've saved it.
So once I've done it once, I've never got to do any of this again. I can just go to it, Tom Lamb subsoiler leg, cut a new one straight out on that machine, which is really good. So like a JCB bracket, if we want to cut like a JCB bracket out for a bucket, all we've got to do is input it into the computer. We can either draw it on the computer, or we can take a picture of an existing one and it will do it for us, won't it?
That's exactly right.
So
we've just imported the image, we've just gone into the scale function. So when you measured it earlier, it was
650 it was, yes.
So we're just going to type 650 in there.
So we've got X and Y.
That's it. So you see how it's automatically scaled the height as well?
Yep.
And then we say yes to that. So that's our part and it's now scaled. So we can now add that to our nest.
So is it as easy as just pressing cut now?
That's it. Well, at this next stage here, we can choose what we want to do with this part.
Yep.
So we can cut it, we can mark it, we can do some centre piercing, or we can ignore it.
Oh yeah, because this machine, it's got an engraving machine on it as well, hasn't it?
That's exactly right.
So the marking, centre piercing. So say if we wanted to drill these holes instead of cut them, it will pierce a hole directly in the centre, so that if we used a mag drill, it will drill it out.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So we can centre pierce these, we can mark it, so we'll actually use the scribe tool to actually mark the circle rather than cut it.
Okay.
Or we can ignore it. So if there's an element of your drawing that you don't like, you can click ignore. And these are all colour coded. So it'll actually miss that one out if you need to.
Okay, cool.
But we want to cut them all, so we're going to go cut, cut, cut.
This is the sheet that would be on the table, isn't it? So this is the actual full-size sheet.
That's correct.
But we're only using a small off-cut sheet.
Yep.
So how would we set that?
Well, you can either select, at the start of the job, you can either give the exact dimensions of the piece of material you're using.
Yep.
Or in this instance, you can just use the whole sheet and just make sure it fits on. We can do a dry run later on to make sure that the part fits on the sheet anyway. So this is basically just, this is where you nest how many parts you want on the plate.
So what we're going to do when we've cut this out, I've actually got a price on some 20mm Hardox sheet, and then we're going to see how many of these legs we can cut out of this sheet and I've got a price of how much that leg costs new, and then we're going to look and see how much saving we'd had if we cut the whole sheet of Hardox 450 out with, we'll just see what saving we got really.
That's exactly right. And at the end of the job, it gives me a data sheet plate here, so this is giving me the consumables that I need to put on the machine.
Oh, because you change the tips, don't you?
Correct. So depending on the thickness of material you're cutting, depending on what consumables you use.
Yeah.
So this sheet here gives me the breakdown of the consumables, and it also tells me, the cutting time, how long it's going to take. So we're looking on here, 3 minutes and 7 seconds, and you have your part.
So literally that part there.
Yep.
That we've just looked at, 3 minutes.
7 seconds.
And that's at 20 odd mil steel.
20mm mild steel. Yep.
Yeah. Wow. And it will cut Hardox steel the same.
No problem at all.
Excellent.
No problem at all.
Wireless keyboard as well with this. Because, forgot to say, this computer system here comes with it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And you can move this to wherever you want.
Yeah, so you've got, it's full touchscreen as well.
Yeah.
And then you've got a wireless keyboard and mouse.
Okay. Right, let's cut this part out, 'cause this is the part I'm here to see. So the first thing, we've got, that shows where it's going to cut. And then this part here is the engraver, and then this part here is the height adjustment. So we're going to see that now. So we're going to start it. Whereabouts are we going to start cutting from?
So to make the most of this material, we're going to position our start point in the corner of the material.
Okay.
Obviously using the wireless keyboard, I can come over to the table, be right above the material, so I can accurately position where I want it to start. So I'm just going to use these keys on the keyboard here, and I'd basically just steer the machine to where I want it to start. So we get nice and close to the edge, and we'll start there.
Right, let's go for it.
Okay.
Very neat as well. So whilst that cuts that out, which is going to take 3 minutes apparently.
That's correct.
You've got a lot smaller machine here.
Yeah, so this is an older Mark III table.
This is for like your garage.
Yeah, so this is a 1250 by 1250 cutting envelope.
Right.
So it's a really small footprint, very compact machine.
Yeah.
But got all the features of the bigger tables.
So you're saying the machine itself is single phase?
Correct. So it draws about 6 amps.
Okay.
So
then it's the power supply that.
Yeah, it determines whether it's single or 3-phase power required for the power supply.
So you've got a Hypertherm Power Max 125 on there.
So this is a 3-phase system.
You can put whatever system you want on any table.
Exactly.
Okay.
So the system just basically determines how thick you can cut.
On here we've got the ESAB one. So yeah, you don't have to have a Hypertherm. You can have Hypertherm, ESAB, whatever.
Hypertherm, ESAB. It's purely down to your application and what you're doing as to which would be the best machine.
This is the Swift Cut XP. So this is like the mega table.
It's like the beefier version of the Swift Cut Pro.
So to start with, it's a lot taller.
Yep.
It will cut a lot thicker.
Yeah, so this you're cutting up to 35 35mm plate, pierced 35mm plate.
Okay, which we can see. Look at that. So that's obviously like a bracket or something you've made.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a test piece.
That's a test piece, correct, yeah.
This is stainless steel you're cutting at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, so this is a water mist process. So it uses water and nitrogen as part of the cutting process and gives you a very clean cut.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Sometimes when you use air for plasma cutting, you can get like a darkened edge.
Okay.
Whereas this gives you a much smoother finish.
Okay.
With obviously all the benefits and the speed of cutting with plasma.
All right. And what's this using? This is using a hypertherm as well?
This is using the ESAB Precision 130, which is the new high definition plasma power source.
All right. And also as well, I've noticed that over there you've got like waterbed tables.
Yep.
And just here, this hasn't got water in, so it's got like a big extraction fan that goes out the back.
That's correct. So this is like a downdraft table.
Yeah.
So this is connected, as you say, to an extraction unit.
Yeah.
So it just pulls the fume down and out the way.
Yeah.
Some workshops that we sell into are quite small. They don't have the space for this kind of setup.
Okay.
So then that's why we have the water tables as well, which are much more compact. You don't need the extraction. So all the fume and the particulate goes into the water below the slats.
Oh, lovely. This is the Hypertherm Max Pro 200, and this is obviously for the XP table. But just remember, you can't buy happiness, but you can finance it. Ugh. So that is that. Let's lay the other part against it so we can see what it looks like. So this is the part I bought. A few minutes ago we obviously photographed it, and now this is the part it's cut out. Look how clean the edges are. Very smart. So the only other thing we'll have to do is cut two little bits out like that, weld them on there, and then drill two little holes through there. But that's nothing really. So remember I said about we're going to see how many of them we can fit on a full-size sheet of Hardox.
Yep.
How many of these now can we fit on a full-size sheet of Hardox? 2 meters by 1 meters, 1 meter sorry by 2 meter there. Hardox 450. So the sheet of Hardox 450 is £650.
Yep.
One of these legs to buy, I've done all this before I come, one of them legs is 100 quid to buy. So if we were to cut out of one of them sheets, we can get 21
legs.
21 legs.
Yep.
So how much saving are we talking per leg? To obviously we've got some little bits to weld on the side as well and drill 2 little holes. So let's say £10 a leg for a little bit of labour and drilling 2 holes, because that would only take literally minutes to just put them on.
Yep.
So how much are we going to save per leg by having a swift cut plasma cutter in the farm workshop? You know, this is just one thing. You know, I'm just using these legs as an example, and you've done a quick calculation here, haven't you?
Yeah. So basically, based on those numbers, with the 21 legs per sheet.
Yes.
Including the extra bits for the bits on the side.
Yeah.
And a little bit of welding.
Yeah.
You're looking at just over £40 per leg cost.
So that's made out of Hardox as well.
Yep.
So you could actually make these legs for 40 quid each instead of 100.
So it's £60 saving per leg.
If we were to cut 21 legs out of this sheet, what would be the total cost saving in pounds for the whole lot for 21 legs?
You're looking at around £1,200 saving.
So it's pretty quickly going to pay for itself, this machine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really impressed with that. And there's another little thing on the wall over here I just want to have a look at as well. So this is pretty impressive. This is like a sculpture of a tree.
Yep, Tree of Life.
Tree of Life, is that what it is?
Yeah.
So this was done by a photograph as well. So you took a picture of what?
A customer brought out a Tree of Life in it they'd bought a long time ago.
Yeah.
We did exactly the same process as we did early on. So
Yeah.
put it onto a light background,
Yeah.
took a photo, scaled it and cut it out.
And that's what it's come out
And
with.
that's what it's come out. So that'd be really difficult to draw in CAD, especially if you have limited CAD skills.
Massively. Look at all the little bits everywhere.
So it's got a lot of detail on it, and obviously it's been able to do it, cut it out within 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's brilliant. The other thing as well I was thinking of, if we want some signs around the farm, some like old rusty signs,
Yeah.
like saying workshop or something, we could cut one out and screw it on the wall.
Yep.
If we want something on the gate, saying, let's say Hall Farm or something, you could screw that to the gate, you can cut it out a bit of steel.
Yep.
I mean, the list of possibilities is endless, but I'm sort of just learning the basics at the moment.
The thing with plasma as well is you can use older steel as well, so it's not dependent on having clean steel all the time. If you've got a bit of rusty material, you still get a nice clean cut.
Okay. And you're also saying earlier as well about the backup you supply or provide, because you sell these all around the world, don't you?
Correct, yeah.
So where would we find something like this?
I mean, you'll find it anywhere from the mountains in France, cable car repair company, right down to mines in Australia. At 2 kilometres below the surface.
Oh wow!
These machines are literally found absolutely everywhere.
And you were saying, did you say you sold some to Tesla as well and Rolls-Royce?
Yeah, Tesla, Rolls-Royce. There's some really big companies that we sell to. So small fabrication companies right up to blue chip companies.
And if I had a problem with something like this, you can remotely access it from your centre here.
Correct.
And then you can tap into it and have a look what's wrong, probably fix it over the phone sort of thing, so you don't have to have an engineer out a lot of the time.
Yeah, so the support team can dial into the console so they can see the console screen. We also have a My SwiftCut app.
Yeah.
So we can use that app to access your phone's camera.
Yeah.
So we can see what the screen's doing, and we can also see what the table's doing. So it helps us to diagnose faults extremely quickly and obviously get the table back up and running.
Oh, excellent. Right, we're going to go and have a look at the waterbed now, because that's something I've never seen before. So this is the SwiftCut SwiftJet Pro, which is the water table, which is a water jet cutter.
So that's correct. So it's a water jet cutter. It's been around about 2 years now, this actual model.
Right.
Shares a lot of the architecture with the plasma tables.
So it's the same table as the plasmas?
Same gantry and running gear. It's got some upgraded bearings and things to protect it from like the water spray and things like that.
Yep.
And then it's got a fully welded tank for obviously holding all this water in there.
How many bar of pressure is coming out the end there?
It's approximately 4,000 bar.
So I shouldn't stick my finger under there?
It wouldn't do any good at all.
So the way this works, next to us here, there's this massive electric motor. It's like, in effect, it's like a massive pressure washer, isn't it?
That's exactly right.
And then what it's doing, it's mixing, are we using grit as well?
Yeah, so it's a garnet, so it's a very fine grit basically.
Okay.
And it mixes that into the high pressure water stream.
Okay.
And that's what does the cutting.
So it's basically like a mega powerful sandblaster sort of thing.
Exactly right, yeah. And very focused.
Very precise.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's coming out of this machine here, coming up here, down here into this, and then this here, this is 1.6 mil aluminium, is it?
Yeah, that's just aluminium, yep.
And it's going to do a very precise cut.
Yeah.
So what sort of things can we cut with this, or should I ask what things won't it cut?
Exactly right. So basically with water jet, there's only really 2 or 3 materials it won't cut.
Okay.
Things like tungsten or hardened glass and things like that, diamond. But really it cuts virtually everything.
So so we could make like rubber gaskets?
Yeah, and anything, rubber, brick, tiles, ceramics, all the metals,
mirror.
glass, mirror.
Wow. Stone?
Anything you want to cut with the water jet, it will pretty much cut.
And it's quite a reasonable price compared to like, I don't know, what could we, I don't even know what you compare this to because it's so unique, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's probably more comparable in price to our bigger plasma systems.
All right, okay.
But it's still within that affordability range which SwiftCut always try and focus on. The best value for money. If
you want to price on some of these machines, it's probably best to ring the team up, like Dan here.
Yeah, so either myself or the UK sales team. We're here 24/7 basically. Ready to ask any questions.
We'll have a look around all these in a bit. So right, let's have a look. We've just had a bit of a design, so we're going to have a look, see what you're going to...
See what we can make.
Yeah.
It's going to flap about a bit, but when you peel it off, it'd be nice.
And I think that's the end of that. So, I think this is the perfect Valentine's present for the wife. Obviously, we've got to take that off, but do we just peel this off?
Yes, this is, so we're just going to peel off this protective film now.
Yep, take that off. So what will this cut? This will cut up to 50 mil.
Cut up to 50 mil metal,
yep.
up to 100 mil in like softer materials,
yep.
like foams and things like that.
And you don't have to use the abrasive with it, you can just cut with water.
Correct, so if you're doing like a open cell foam, you know, like an insert for a briefcase or something like that, you
yep.
can just use water only.
Oh wow, look at that. I'm going to tell my wife I made this.
I won't say anything.
Exactly the same software, same setup.
Yep, exactly the same setup. So you've still got the touchscreen, wireless keyboard and mouse.
Yep.
It's the same CNC software, so again, extremely easy to use.
Very easy to use. Let's just have a quick look around this, look.
So this is the high pressure pump.
High pressure pump,
It's a direct drive pump.
Right.
30 horsepower.
30 horsepower.
That's it.
Oh, that's a lot. And then, what's all this then? Just your gauges,
yeah, just the gauges, that's
filtration
it.
systems.
Filtration for the incoming water supply.
Quite simple actually, isn't it? This is where you fill up the...
So this is the garnet. So this is the big hopper. So
yep.
you fill this garnet, this is a pressurised unit.
Yep.
And this is what is pressurised, goes across this tube into the mini hopper, which is mounted to the head of the machine.
Another plasma table now. The difference between this one, if you look in here, it's actually got a water bed on it. So this one, you don't need any extraction unit for this, is that correct?
That's exactly right. So if you've got a smaller workshop
yeah.
and you don't have the space for a filtration extraction system, you can have a water table. And this is it. There's no other ancillaries required. You just fill it with water, keep it topped up to just below the slats,
yeah.
and you're safe to go.
So this is quite good because you don't have the expense of buying the extraction system.
Exactly.
You've just got this.
Yep.
So I think we're going to cut another leg out, one of the cultivation leg. The other thing we've been talking about is the engraver. So that little bit just there we spoke about earlier, it's just done that. So if we press start, so you can engrave a part number. Just cut out the next piece. So what we've done here, we've done like a different array of holes this time. So that bit there was done on the engraver. We've cut two out, and then that bit there was done by just giving a little tap of the plasma cutter, so it gives us a little dot punch.
Little centerpiece.
So if we want to, we can drill it.
Yeah, so if you wanted a really small hole in quite a thick plate,
yes.
plasma's not necessarily suitable for doing that.
Okay.
So you mark the centre of your hole, and then it's very easy just to reference that when you drill your hole.
So you ain't got to measure it and try and get it in the right place.
Exactly right.
Yeah, that's really clever. And there it is, our next cultivation leg. Look at the quality of the cut, it's absolutely fantastic, isn't it? And as well, on the waterbed table, they're actually better because they keep the steel cooler, is that correct?
Yeah, so especially on the thinner materials,
yeah.
It's cooling as it's cutting, so you're able to pick the parts up, less risk of burning your hands or whatever. So
you don't need gloves for picking up the smaller steel?
We'd always advise to use gloves, but the material is definitely much cooler than it would be on a downdraft table.
So thanks to Dan here today, we've had a look round, we've obviously had a look at this machine here, which is possibly what I might be interested in.
Maybe.
This is quite a big investment, so it'd be really good to hear what everyone's comments are, or your viewers, see what you think to it. We've obviously had a look at the Swift Jet Pro. We've had a look at the waterbed table as well. I would probably prefer the water table.
Yep.
Because it's obviously quite a significant lot cheaper because we don't have to buy all the extractor and everything.
It's a simpler setup.
Yeah. We've had a look at the Swift Cut XP, which is obviously the mega professional one.
Beefy
yeah.
version.
I mean, there's so much stuff all this can do, but the sort of sky's nearly the limit, I suppose, isn't it?
100%. And this demo room's open 24/7, 365.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So anytime when people want to come down.
If you're generally interested then in something like this, you can ring yourself and book.
Yep, exactly. Just give us a call, book in, and we'll get you in, and we'll see what we can do with the machines.
Oh wow, that's quite handy to know, isn't it? So yeah, I'm going to go away now and take this leg wherever it's gone, and I'm going to see if it fits in. We'll drill the holes and see if it fits in, and actually have a go with it. and see what happens. So thank you very much for watching that. We're now going to go and do a factory tour, which is going to be a separate video. So, lovely. See you all soon. Thank you to Dan.
Cheers, Tom.
Thank you to you. Goodbye.